Hi, Marbs here. Let's talk Xbox variants. Now, what are Xbox variants? Well, one of the perhaps the most interesting things about the Xbox One and Xbox Series ecosystem in physical is, yeah, we have a lot of variants, and we have a lot of variants for a lot of different reasons. And, I could go on and tell you all the different versions. And, I could say that, oftentimes it comes down to during the transition from Xbox One to Series that they were offering Xbox One versions and Xbox Series versions of the same game with two different sets of artwork. Now, here's the thing. Let's talk about some of the variants. Now, variants will oftentimes come down to covers. You see that here with the Stalker 2 Steelbooks. Each time you upgraded a level, you got a unique Stalker 2 Steelbook. If you bought the base Stalker edition, you got the green one. If you moved up to Deluxe, you got the blue one, which is just a blue variant of the green one. But if you bought the Ultimate Edition, you got an Ultimate version of the Steelbook, which was completely different than the others. Now, Titanfall 2 is an interesting example of discs are all the same. So here are the different editions: the Standard Edition, the Deluxe Edition, and the Steelbook Edition. Now, the Steelbook Edition is highly sought after, and the Deluxe Edition obviously is worth more than the Standard Edition. What is interesting here is that all three use the same disc. Yeah, that's right, all three same disc. So the extra content is controlled by the code. So if the code's burned, you get no extra content. Now, in the used market, it can be worth more even though the code's burned, just because it is the variant version of the cover. And there are variant collectors out there that hunt these variants and accept nothing other than the variant. Now, here's another interesting one that is a more recent variant. These are the Focus Store versions of Atlas Fallen. Focus Store version, yes, that's correct. There was a collector's edition that came with an metal icon art and a steelbook and an art book for Atlas Fallen. Plus, it came with this exclusive Focus Store cover that you notice has the ESRB on the insert, which is a little different. I hear that the UK one is a little bit more common. Now, those of you who bought it at Amazon or GameStop or whatever, you got the regular standard cover. Now, this other Focus Store cover is very, very exclusive. How exclusive? Well, you can't get it anymore because the Focus Entertainment Store is closed. Now, let's talk about Rise Son of Rome. Rise Son of Rome brings up another interesting thing. Is the extra content on the disc? Well, it's very interesting. Rise Son of Rome, although you have this really, really, really nice Legendary Edition, guess what? There is no content on the disc. Uses basically the same disc. All the content is controlled by a DLC code. And that's unlike this one here for our good friend Record Definitive Edition. Now, this one's another pretty rare one, but the difference is all the DLC content and everything is on the disc. Boy, it would have been nice if they'd have done that with Rise Son of Rome too. Now, printing variants are one that's kind of interesting. This one here for Raiden 4 Remix has printing on the back from the PlayStation 5 edition of the game. Why? We don't know. I'm assuming somebody sent out the artwork and forgot to remove the PlayStation stuff and change it over to the Xbox stuff. But again, it's another variant. And it's interesting, you can get variants in other ways as well. A lot of games are being repressed, and if they are, they're using the new Xbox Series look of the packaging, even though they're Xbox One games. And if you look in the corner, you see it says Xbox One, but it has a cover that makes it look like an Xbox Series game. Guess that's just something that they're doing for repackaging. However, it becomes another variant. Now, there are collectors who collect nothing but variants. And I say to them, man, that's got to be a really hard thing to do, because variants Man, they don't often, surface. And if you don't know other people in the collecting community, sorting out which variants are valid and what the information is something that you can only do by doing a lot of research and trying to track this stuff. Sometimes, like for instance, with the Stalker steelbooks, different steelbooks were released in different countries. So you may have only had access to the deluxe edition, or you may have only had access to the standard edition, but there are other editions out there. Now, do I think variant collecting is a good thing? Well, a lot of people ask me that, and what I will say to you is variants do normally go for more than the standard editions. How much more? It just depends on how rare the variant is. And there are a lot more than this, and a lot more types of variants. Why don't you tell me some of your favorite variants down below in the comments? Thank you for watching. My name is Barbs. See you in the next one.